Hello everybody. We are going to get right back to it with the Wild Robot. As you know, you can take AR tests at home now. Tuck, are you excited to take AR tests at home? Tuck, you can take AR tests at home. Guys, this is going to take us a little while to get through this to take an AR test on it. So in the meantime, you can also get books off of your shelf, or you can go to YouTube and listen to read alouds to other people reading books or out loud, shorter books, and you can take tests on those, okay? So for now, we're going to keep going with the pine tree. Now, I'm going to remind you, if you have not listened to our videos up until Chapter 16, you need to go back on the YouTube channel and listen to those other videos to get caught up. So I want you to either track along with me, or I want you to just close your eyes and relax and really focus on visualizing, or you can get some crayons and paper and you can illustrate as I read. Here we go. Roz was in no hurry to leave the tree. She stayed on her branch long after the bears had gone, enjoying some peace and looking herself over. In addition to bite marks and claw marks, the robot was also covered in dirt, which of course meant it was time for another cleaning. She was making good progress when she felt something sticky on her arm. The problem with sitting in a pine tree is that eventually the tree's sticky resin will find you. It always does, and it found Roz. The robot scrubbed and scraped at the resin, and soon her fingers were completely coated in the sticky stuff. Then it was all over her arms and legs and her torso. And things were about to get even messier. A robin swooped into the tree and began screeching and fluttering around Roz. The bird had recently finished building herself a new nest. It was a little work of art, a delicate basket woven from grass and twigs and feathers, and it was right above the robot's head. "Screech, screech," said the robin. "I do not understand you, Robin." The robin continued screeching and fluttering, and then, splat, she splattered her droppings across the robot's face. This bird was serious. So Roz scooted away, farther out on the branch, until she heard a quick, sharp crack. Before Roz knew what was happening, the tree branch snapped under her weight and she went crashing to the forest floor. She hit the ground hard and lay there as broken branches and pine cones and needles showered down on top of her. There was another splat, and then quiet returned to the forest. Oh my goodness. Chapter 17. The Camouflage Insect. Roz was a mess. She lay under the tree, covered in a heap of broken branches and pine cones and needles. She still hadn't removed the sticky resin from her body. And guys, that word right there, have you ever tested a tree and had that sticky sap stuff? That's what she's talking about. And then there were the bird droppings. She was about to get up and give herself a rigorous cleaning when she noticed a peculiar twig. The twig was moving. It was crawling along one of the broken branches on the ground. With a gentle touch, the robot picked up the twig. "Hello, stick insect. My name is Roz. You are very well camouflaged." The stick insect's body was long and thin. He had the same shape and colors and markings as a real twig. But if you look closely, you just might see two tiny eyes and two spindly antennae. The insect didn't make a sound, and he sat perfectly still as the robot. The two of them sat still and silently stared at each other for a while. "Thank you, stick insect," said Roz as she placed him back where she found him. "You have taught me an important lesson. I can see how camouflage helped you survive. Perhaps it could help me survive also." All right, guys, so it looks like Roz is getting some ideas. Oh my goodness, what is this? Chapter 18. The Camouflaged Robot. As you know, reader, Roz had always liked to keep herself as clean as possible. But her desire to stay alive was stronger than her desire to stay clean, and a robot decided it was time she got dirty. Roz was going to camouflage herself. She'd gotten the idea from the stick insect, but Roz quickly realized that camouflaging herself as a twig was out of the question. No, the robot would have to blend into the landscape itself. She began by smearing handfuls of thick mud over her entire body. Then she plucked ferns and grasses from the ground and sank their roots into her new muddy coating. She placed colorful flowers around her face to disguise her glowing eyes, and any bare patches were covered with tree leaves and strips of moss. A robot now looked like a great tuft of plants walking through the forest. She definitely looks different, doesn't she, guys? She waited for darkness, and then she padded to the center of a clearing, nestled herself between some rocks, and became part of the landscape. Guys, part of the landscape, that just means she became part of her surroundings. A few hours later, the sky was brightening, the fog was lifting, the nighttime animals were slinking home, and the daytime animals were beginning to stir. It was just an ordinary morning on the island. However, there was that new tuft of plants in that one forest clearing. Only the bees had noticed the tuft. They buzzed around it, completely unaware that the robot was hidden beneath. And so Roz sat there, right in the open, yet completely unseen, and observed the wilderness around her. She watched flowers slowly turn toward the sun. She listened to rodents crawl through the weeds. She smelled the moist, piney air. She felt worms wiggle against her muddy sides. A week later, the tuft of plants was gone, but there was a new clump of seaweed on the shore. A week after that, the clump of seaweed was gone, but there was a new bramble on the mountain. Then there was a new log on the riverbank, then a new rock in the forest. So what's happening, guys? What's Roz doing? Chapter 19, The Observations. Clouds scudded through the sky. Spiders spun intricate webs. Berries beckoned to hungry mouths. Foxes stalked hares. Mushrooms rose up from leaf litter. Turtles plopped into ponds. Moss spread across tree roots. Vultures hunched over carcasses. Ocean waves beat against the coastline. Tadpoles became frogs. Caterpillars became butterflies. A camouflage robot observed it all. All right, guys, and we're going to stop right there. Our next chapter will be the language of the animals.